I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
Just doing it big, you know?
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Corrections and retractions. ESPN/ABC is going to air the Super Bowl next year for the first time since '06, according to Christian's crack research staff during the break. So now it's going to be a rotation of 4 networks for the Super Bowl.
Is it 4, or is somebody losing it? Did somebody lose a bid?
I'm sure they're just bringing them in. Got to get Joe Buck back on that Super Bowl call. Joe and Troy.
Can't lose him.
No, I suppose not. So anyway,
you're right. The rotation is CBS, Fox, NBC, and ABC. Beginning 2024 is when the new run goes.
How much do you think? Just a continuation off our conversation, real quick, and then we're going to talk to NBA draft with Chuck here momentarily. But how much do you think ESPN or any of those companies would pay to have that game every year?
Yeah, if you could become synonymous with the Super Bowl, the way NBC is synonymous with the Olympics or CBS is with the NCAA tournament. And again,
they would pay
as
whatever.
We love our Olympics, and it's 2 weeks long in Salt Lake City. I mean, it's 2 weeks long everywhere, but Salt Lake City loves its Olympics. The Super Bowl, that's what every identity would be. It'd be like coming up next week of The Simpsons on Fox, the home of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It would be that every
your
single
home
time.
For the
your
Super
home
Bowl.
for the Super Bowl. It would be that every time they could use it.
And right now, ESPN has not only college football playoff, but specifically the college football championship game every single year.
Yep.
They don't have to share it with anybody.
Yeah. So why would you give it up?
It's got to be worth a fortune.
Yep, it does.
Might be the most valuable thing that the mouse has when it comes to ESPN.
I would imagine. I mean,
their share of the Super Bowl,
especially individual property. Yes, other than their share of the Super Bowl, probably even once every 4 years. Super Bowl still more valuable, but the NCAA tournament, the NCAA championship game and the entire playoff is really great.
Yeah, the value of that is crazy. I mean, honestly, CBS having the NCAA tournament every year, I'm sure, is a huge part of their money-making ability.
It's the feather in the cap of their sports coverage.
Yeah, might be the only thing that matters. Well,
they got
of
NFL.
Course, clearing normal NFL games.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right. We're going to talk some NBA draft with Chuck coming up here momentarily. Chuck making a return to the Jake and Ben show. He's the host of the Chuck and Darts NBA draft podcast. In fact, he's with us now. How's it going, Chuck?
Going very well. Thank you all very much for having me.
We appreciate you jumping back with us again this year. Jazz had a top 5 pick last year. They had number 5. They get Ace Bailey, and I think Jazz fans are very happy with that. How should they feel about landing at number 2 in this year's draft specifically? How do you rank it? Because I've heard from some people very close to teams that this isn't a generational draft. I've heard other people say this is your chance to get the best player on a championship team.
Well, they should feel very good. I mean, there's only one other place to go up from number 2, obviously. And I think they should, in terms of the options that they'll have, feel very good about it. I mean, I'm sure y'all have heard about AJ Dybantsa, given his ties to the community and to the Jazz owner and everything. He's not the only great option that they've got. He actually, I would probably prefer Cam Boozer if you're asking me, and we can talk about that. But there will be an excellent player, whether it's Dybantsa, Peterson, Boozer, available to the Jazz at 2. So they're in a great spot.
Just how good is this draft? I feel like we've been talking about it forever as this unbelievable and deep draft. Do you believe that to be the truth?
It's a very good draft. I think last year's draft was better, frankly, in my opinion, because a lot of the depth in this draft is at point guard. And I am a little bit skeptical that all these point guards are really going to work out. The league now is, and the Jazz have a good young point guard, obviously, in Keontae George, but their offense is a sort of like a beautiful offense designed by Will Hardy to take advantage of like bigger players that can operate as hubs away from the paint. And the NBA now is not a point guard initiation league. You still get them. Jalen Brunson might be in the NBA Finals, and obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's leading the Thunder. But even Shai is 6'6", and a lot of the guards in this class that comprise its depth throughout the middle of the lottery are a lot smaller than that, and they have like pretty narrow paths to success. So while it's a good draft, I think it's good, and it'll still thin out as the deadline for returning to college is May the 27th. I think that you definitely want to be at the tippy top. You always want pick number 2 instead of pick number 8. But I think that is especially true this year, in my opinion.
Okay, so you talked about Cam Boozer, and here's what I will say. Between the podcasters, and by the way, that's not dismissing anybody, and the real hardcore draft people, there is one opinion. And then there's everybody who writes digital articles, and that's the other opinion, everyone who puts out like digital mock drafts, which is if you go to a website and you look at who's the number 1 pick, everybody says A.J. Dybantsa. But if you do the diehards, the draftniks, the people who have their podcasts and everything, everyone says it's Cam Boozer and Darryn Peterson fighting for the number 1 spot. I'm not asking you where you fall. I'm asking you why do you think that's the opinion and why it changes as weirdly as it does?
I think that's AJ Dybantsa is the leading scorer out of these 3, and he also looks the most like a dominant NBA wing. And so that is very attractive. And it's not those are good things. It's good to look like a dominant NBA wing, and it's good to be the leading scorer among freshmen in college basketball. So that's always going to have a lot of people saying that you're the best pick. To go back to those guards, Darius Acuff is the highest scoring guard, and so a lot of people think that he's the best guard. But there's also, you have people who say Keaton Wagler or a bunch of other people. I think the Boozer Peterson contingent, not that it's a real like battle or anything, but I think that the Boozer Peterson contingent is more tied to efficiency and how they project efficiency wise in the league. AJ is pretty efficient in how he scores. Like, he's good. Peterson, when he's on, is the best shooter in the draft, and there's always going to be, and he's like a good athlete. And so if you're a great shooter and a very good athlete and you can D up, then you're going to have a ton of fans. And Boozer is the most efficient player in the draft. And has won the most at high school, and he won more than at Duke than Dybantsa or Peterson did. So like, they all have pretty traditional cases. I don't think anything is really out of left field with any of the 3 of them, but that's why I would say.
Think we'll see a lot of trades in this year's draft. I mean, Ben and I talked about Giannis earlier and what Milwaukee's going to do with him. I mean, are we going to see anything big happen?
I hope so, but draft season, to me, trades are a very underutilized team building strategy at draft time. I think most teams, by the time it gets to actually make a pick, have fallen in love. And to be more specific, I think owners have fallen in love with players that they have interviewed. And so they are more reluctant to trade a pick, because they've developed that attachment to it. But it's sort of like buying a new car. That car will lose value when you drive it off the lot. And not that these players become worse once you pick them. That's not the case. But there is never more demand and fervor around these picks than the week before the draft and draft night. And so I do think that shrewd GMs should be more active in trading back. I mean, I think a big winner of the draft last year, if you ask most people, is the Atlanta Hawks, because they traded down from 13 and got the New Orleans Pelicans pick this year, which is, I think, number 8. And it's rare to get a value delta that extreme. but I think that teams should be more active in doing it, even at the very, very top. As far as this year, the Wizards have talked about trading down from number 1. It's hard to know what to believe, at this point, because there's lots of smoke screens. But I think it's at least possible. Anytime you have a draft where there's a real difference of opinion as to who should go, even number 1, that's a good environment for trades, because all it takes is one team to think a little bit differently than others, and then all of a sudden you can have trade partners, and that's where it could go.
Chuck, I'm really fighting something when I look at this draft, and it's that everybody says Cam Boozer has the lowest ceiling of the top guys. He's also 6 months younger than everybody else, and I get that he's not a big jumper, but there's not a lot of 29-year-olds in the NBA who are in their prime whose game is based on their ability to jump high. So where do you fall on Cam Boozer, his potential? Is he too close to his ceiling to warrant being this high of a draft pick? Does he have the lowest ceiling? Where do you fall on some of those issues that I think a lot of people are struggling with?
I'm with you. I think that ceiling is a very slippery concept. It's hard to try to project how a player is going to look when they are in their actual NBA prime and reaching their ceiling, which is usually around ages like 26 to 31. That is in 2033, 2034, 2035, when we're all, gray and decaying. So I think a much more useful exercise lots of times is looking at who has the highest floor and what their best skills are. If you can combine floor with best skills, that's a way to approximate ceiling. And jumping, like you mentioned, is not really a skill. It's a characteristic, but it's not something that you can directly link to producing winning basketball. Boozer, to me, has the highest floor because he's the best current player and he's the youngest, like you mentioned. And his best skill is in how he reads the game, how he processes the game, how he controls the game. And that is a very valuable asset to have. I would say that in 2020, Tyrese Halliburton read the game the best, but he fell because people perceived a lower ceiling because he was a skinny guard who was 180 soaking wet. But that ability to read the game propelled him, along with being, a really good shooter and scorer, to vastly outperforming his draft slot. And so Boozer's not a perfect athlete by any stretch, but that ability to read the game is almost perpetually underrated. So to me, his ceiling is someone who can run and operate on a very, very good NBA offense, and who.
All right, we just lost Chuck, so sorry about that.
Yeah, we'll try and get him back on. Yeah, interesting to look at these top 3. I think there's going to be a lot of different opinions. And by the way, I think I feel the way Chuck does a little bit about floor versus ceiling. I know a lot of NBA front offices do not, and I'm not saying the Jazz don't. I don't know what Austin Ainge values. I mean, Ace Bailey is the ultimate high ceiling, low floor guy. So they may not value that at all. I'll be curious how they approach this with the number 2 pick.
I just wonder if we're overthinking it. All the, ceiling and floor and all that stuff. I just wonder how much teams consider. I mean, what you're talking about is risk factor, right? I mean, you're talking about risk of missing on a pick, which is high because we're talking about such young basketball players. But when you're picking 1, 2, or 3, God, you just got to go with the person whose game you like the most, right? I mean, let me put it this way. I feel like that's a lot bigger discussion when you get back a little bit further, right? Take Taylor Hendricks. The risk factor is super high, but you're picking 9th or 10th or whatever. At 1, 2, or 3 in a draft like this, I would think that you got to get the risk is low. You got to take the player. It's a proven commodity, don't you think? Or am I looking at this thing?
No,
all
I think
wrong?
you're exactly right. In fact, I think we way over. One of my takes for a while has been we way overthink the draft. We overdo the draft. I think the length of process between the combine and the actual draft itself is absurd. It's like 7 weeks from the first day of the combine to the actual draft. It's like there's not 500 guys. There's really probably 15 guys. 60 are going to get their name called. Most of them are going to be on two ways in the second round.
Yeah.
Now spread it out over 2 nights. It's just the investment in a guy in the second half of the first round is really low. It's like $2 million. They don't matter actually all that much. It's just like a veteran invite, so it doesn't matter that much. I think we way overdo the draft despite the fact that I really like it. So yes, I'm totally with you. I think the reason a lot of teams make draft mistakes in retrospect, when you go back, you're like, how did they do that? That was obvious. Mm-hmm. It's because they think about it too many times. They go over it. They check their work too many times, and then they start to pull apart like, I watched Cam Boozer against Virginia, and he got a shot blocked 6 times. It's like, okay, but how did he do the other 29 games? How did he do the other 37? And I think that's the question. So, yeah, we were talking about ceiling and floor, and you I thought explained Cam Boozer extraordinarily well. Along those lines, I guess, where do you look at Darryn Peterson and A.J. Dybantsa in that same, I guess, spectrum or through that same lens?
Those questions are fascinating when it comes to those two guys. I think starting with Darryn, it's because, his camp has come out and said that he's going to be a point guard, and they know that they need to say that, because if he comes out and says, I'm a pure shooting guard, his ceiling is lower. Because you just look across the league now, who is the best pure shooting guard in the league who doesn't sort of run his team's offense? Is it kind of like Devin Booker maybe? And Devin Booker's a great player, but Darryn is aiming higher than that, and I think his camp is aiming higher than that. And he played alongside a point guard at Kansas, and he was in and out of the lineup at Kansas because of what his camp is saying is creatine, and who knows, maybe there's some more information to that. But that his ceiling is tied to whether or not he plays point. And I have not made up my mind as to whether or not I feel like he can successfully do that. I think he probably has enough skills to get the chance to play point guard for 2 or 3 years, but playing point guard requires a lot of availability. You got to build that chemistry to the point where your teammates are really playing your style and following your lead. And that's a bit of a question with Peterson, too, is how much he's going to be on the floor. Is he going to be able to play 35 minutes a night, 75 nights a year and do it? And so if you believe he can do that, then you can start to really dream on him as the best player in the draft. But there's, I think, enough skepticism to give people pause. Dybantsa, his ceiling is about whether his approach to the game that he currently has is a good enough NBA approach. Because his approach right now is to leverage his tremendous, scoring instincts and his, preference for driving to the rim and for working in the mid-range when the rim is cut off. And whether or not that is, an NBA apex predator style of scoring, or if it's more like the best version of Brandon Ingram, Ingram is a talented scorer who can fill it up, but there's a limit to mid-range forward prospects. So Dybantsa, I thought, got better as the year went along in terms of sacrificing some of those mid-rangers for passing looks and for finding more creative ways to get to the hoop. But he is still not yet a very natural three-point shooter. And it's about whether or not you think those encouraging steps that he took are going to continue in the right direction, or if he's going to fall into his habits. Because otherwise, I think Ingram might be too low a floor for him. But you see how Paolo Banchero has struggled to become the version of himself that people really want. I think Dybantsa is a better prospect than Paolo, but there can be a similar sort of concern that, yes, he can make all-star teams, but is he making all-star teams for a 5 seed as opposed to a 2 seed or a 1 seed, that sort of thing.
You alluded to Peterson and his shenanigans at Kansas and whatever the explanation may be. Do you think how much? Well, let me put it this way: how much do NBA teams care about that?
Varies by team. I think NBA teams like certainty, as certain as they can be, even if it comes down to a gut feeling. They want their gut to feel confident, and if they feel like they're not getting the whole story, then that will give some of them pause for sure. But it only takes the right team to fall in love. Love's a powerful emotion. And if, James Wiseman went second in part because Joe Lacob fell in love with James Wiseman, and James Wiseman played 2 games in college. So there were plenty of people who could have told him that was like a red flag, but it doesn't matter if you get the googly eyes. So I think that Peterson, it depends on, I think, how personally charismatic and charming he is in these interviews, kind of like stuff that's far away from his production on the court. But he came out and also said something this year about he's a naturally introverted person. And I hope I'm not taking that out of context, and maybe he felt like it was taken out of context, but he may not be the guy that just wows, an owner who's making the ultimate call. I think Dybantsa maybe is more set up to blow teams away in that particular category. So I think there's some teams who could view Peterson as more of a mystery box, and that could hurt his ultimate stock.
Okay, take Darryn Peterson out of it because it's the obvious answer. What's the next biggest kind of wild card in the draft? Whether that's a player or a question about a specific player, who do you think that, or what do you think that could be?
I think there's a lot of questions about Yaxel Lendeborg because he's old, and generally teams, and scouts like to fade older players. And Yaxel's going to be turning 24 before he plays an NBA game. And so everyone, I think, is sort of building in that discount to him. But I am very intrigued by the possibility that he could be very, very, very good in the NBA, worthy of a top 5 pick, that kind of good. And that this age thing, which normally is there for a good reason because it refers to players who, were never athletic enough to play in the league until they got older, in Yaxel's case might be a red herring. I think he's an extremely skilled guy with a lot of physical talent who should not fall out of the top 10. And I get a sinking feeling that the Oklahoma City Thunder at 12 will be more than happy to draft him, and the league will only have itself to blame if that happens.
Chuck, thank you for jumping on with us. We really appreciate it.
Great stuff, Chuck.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. There you go. That's Chuck, host of Chuck and Darts, the NBA Draft Podcast.
I would be really afraid to draft a 24-year-old rookie.
Just too old?
24, it's again, he started college. This is his 6th year of college, and he was the best player on Michigan.
Uh-huh.
He was the best player on a team that was a great team. That was a great Michigan team. We will look back, I think, other than the fact that, they didn't grow together. It was a team of mercenaries. But as this is maybe one of the better college basketball teams we've ever seen. 3 of the guys are going to get drafted in the top 15. Guard might get drafted as well. They had a great roster, and they dominated everybody. They crushed Arizona. They blew out UConn, or were blowing out UConn most of the game. He entered college when the rest of these guys were entering 9th grade or 8th grade. It's yeah, he's been playing that level of basketball since those kids were in junior high school. And I know he was at a low D. He wasn't even D1. He was in junior college and worked his way up. I don't. I just feel like every time we have these 24-year-old guys or 23-year-old guys, remember Dalton Connect, who plays for the Lakers now. There's just
Does he play?
No, he does not play, and that's the problem. Yeah, he's probably out of the league next year. It's easy to sell yourself to be yeah, but the skills are so good, and then he looks so finished. It's correct, because he's finished.
Yeah.
Because that's as good he's going to be. But he's 6 years older than the guys he's going up against, and so he's going to go in the first round. Chuck very well may be right, but if I'm a Jazz fan, I'm so happy I'm not sitting there at 8 wondering, do you consider Yaxel the 24-year-old when you're talking about, is Darryn Peterson going to play enough? I guess that's the big question for him. Or, is A.J. Dybantsa's 33% three-point percentage such a red flag that you could never touch him? Or is the fact that Boozer only dunked 25 times instead of 60 times a major concern? Just everyone in Utah land should be very happy.
Got our guy Potgieter bogeyed a couple coming down the stretch.
I know.
Yeah. He's
cursed
now
him.
Down at 3 under. Probably the last time we'll ever talk about that guy.
Yeah.
Although the new leader at 6 under par, his name is Maverick McNeely. That might be the greatest name in sports history.
That's what Lloyd said. I said anybody named Maverick.
It feels like an NPC to me, right? It just feels like some made-up character from a video game that they're just like, yeah, Maverick McNeely's leading. It's like, no. Smalley's at the top? No.
If
These
you're
are
named
fake
Maverick, you probably think you're cooler than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because you have a cool name. It's a cool name, don't get me wrong, but
Maverick McNeely is an awesome name.
Not as good as Maverick Lamoureux. That's a way better name than Maverick. McNeely?
It has an alliteration to it.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
It's a great name. Why are you dumping on Maverick?
Well, it also reminds me of one of my faves, Can't Hardly Wait, the high school party movie, where the loser who comes back to college is Trip McNeely. He's the loser who was the coolest guy in high school and goes away to college, and none of the girls like him because he's still a high school drunk, and he comes back and is trying to hook up with high school girls. So, sorry, Mav McNeely.
But this guy's name is Maverick, not Trip.
I'm with you. I might not be in on Maverick as far as Maverick McNeely. He's up right now. We'll see. Can he get around this tree? I think he's about to lose. I think he's about to fall off this leaderboard.
No, he birdies this hole.
He birdies this hole? We're that far behind?
Oh, maybe he bogeys this hole. I take it back.
Okay. I was going to say, that'd be a heck of a shot. That's a Tiger quality shot. Oh, put it on the green.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more coming up next.
that was a
Jake
hell
and
of a
Ben,
shot.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I think we play this every segment until Maverick McNeely's no longer in the lead. In fact, we just keep it on underneath the entire show.
No, I don't like that idea at all.
Only two and a half hours
like
left.
I do like this as far as like a movie theme
Themes?
song
Yeah.
goes. It's pretty good, but I don't want to listen
Have
to
we
it
ever
for the
done
rest.
movie themes?
We have, because we did theme songs in general, because I took Magnum PI #1, I think.
No, we did intro music.
Is that what we did?
Yeah, and I think it was for TV.
TV exclusively?
We have to go back.
I'll add to the list, because even if I don't remember that, so it might have
Well,
been
we did
before
Magnum
me.
PI because we talked about it not that long ago.
That's not why you were talking about it, though.
Okay, this was a different draft.
You guys bring it up pretty frequently.
Movie themes or Magnum PI?
Magnum PI.
Well, Magnum PI is amazing.
Yeah, it's it deserves to be just kind of a constant.
Well, Tom Selleck was the actor of our time. I mean, is there a bigger actor on the planet than Tom Selleck?
No, he's ubiquitous,
He
as is
is.
Magnum PI.
Oh, Tom Selleck could play any role. He could act any part. The man is brilliant.
I'm adding it to my list. Best
Okay.
movie theme.
All right.
That's a great idea,
So
actually.
Star Wars comes to mind, obviously.
Well, don't do the
We're-
draft
Yeah,
yet.
don't
It's
spoil
not
it.
Wednesday.
We're not doing it today.
My guy, exactly.
We're talking about it. What, you wouldn't have thought of Star Wars?
I was hoping you wouldn't
Or
have.
you,
That's
wouldn't you wouldn't have thought of anything John Williams has written?
the John Williams draft. Okay, put it on the list.
Oh, I didn't think about Star Wars. Top Gun's pretty good, though.
A+.
It's like one of the first things you learn how to play when you learn how to play an instrument.
Okay. Did you ever play guitar?
No.
Same. What was your instrument?
I played the trumpet.
You played the trumpet. No, Jake is the writer and the band leader.
I'm
It does
not-
not mean he plays an
I
instrument.
do not play an instrument in the band. I am chief songwriter.
Correct.
I'm like Bernie Taupin.
Rule maker, songwriter.
Uh-huh.
Some other words in there I can't mix.
But
in.
I'm not playing the guitar,
Yeah.
no. No, I never played a string instrument. I played the trumpet in like elementary and junior high.
Do you like it?
Yeah. Then I got braces and it ruined it.
Christian music.
I played the bells in 6th grade.
Does that count?
Yeah.
It's more than I played.
Yeah, it
I've never
definitely
played an
counts.
instrument. I couldn't play an instrument. My wife makes fun of me for not having any musicality in my life. It's not an Anderson thing. None of my family has it.
What kind? Like the cowbell?
No, it's like it's kind of like a xylophone, but they're metal.
Okay.
I did that because you start with the bells, and then that's how you do percussion and like move up to play the drums eventually. But I dropped it after the bells.
They never moved you up from bells, huh?
No, I would because they're bendy, so
would-
I'd bend it back and like hit my co-bell player. We'd hit each other with the sticks.
Behavior issues.
Yeah.
Probably didn't hit the beat either, I'm guessing.
Which would have made you a good drummer, but saying as far as the issues have.
But the only
Drummer's
thing you
usually
need to do to move
problematic.
up from bells is hit the beat. So did you struggle with the beat?
Well, I missed my like that's, so I
So that
clearly never got better.
That could be it. It's like one of the best scenes in Mr. Holland's Opus where he's trying to help the guy find the beat who's whacking the drum. You know what I'm talking about? And what is it? Uptight by Stevie Wonder is playing, which is one of the great songs ever. Man, we should put that on.
Tapping him on the shoulder?
Put that on our bump list. Yeah, and then grabs his shoelaces and he's pulling it up and down. It's tough to find the beat sometimes.
Whiplash, that's what the whole movie's about.
Is that your issue? Why you're not musical? You don't have good rhythm?
I was singing one time, just kind of like joking around singing. And my wife said to me, does the music sound that off in your head when you're singing? And I thought, okay, that's one of the meaner things anyone's ever said to me. But she also texted the show and said she Shrek'd me. So
that's true.
She's pretty hard on me. She's really hard on me. If you don't know what shrekking is when you marry somebody so far below you in the looks department, but that they have no choice but to like listen to everything you say.
This our family friend that has since passed, but who goes to the beach with us every year. He was always full of great lines. And I was walking around singing something, and he goes, "Hey, what'd you do with that money?" I said, "What money?" And he goes, "That money your mom gave you for singing lessons."
I don't pretend to be a singer.
Which I thought was a pretty great line.
But that's a funny line. Yeah, I just don't need to dunk on me for it.
No, I have really terrible. One of my great wishes in life was that I was more musical. I wish I could sing.
Sure.
Like, if I could just implant a skill in my brain, it would be that. But I just can't hear the pitch.
No tone.
No, I just can't. I don't know why I can't hear it, but I just can't hear it, and it made me. I probably wasn't a great trumpet player because of that. And then the braces, I was like, I'm done.
And their whole family's musical. My sister-in-law's flute player for Ballet West, so it's like, yeah, I get it. You guys are cooler than I am.
Ballet's dancing, not flouting.
Well, they have a what do they call it? Not a band.
Orchestra?
An orchestra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talented flautist.
Very.
Well, you'd have to be.
Yeah, they're not hiring bozos.
Well, I thought you had to be a ballerina to be in the ballet, though.
Yeah, maybe she can dance too. Maybe she's the backup.
She's also the understudy?
Yeah, that's how you get the job. You can wear a lot of hats.
That actually makes a lot of sense. All right, we're going to check in with PK, who's down at Copper Rock, so we'll get the latest from that. We could also see if PK has any hot takes bouncing around his brain.
And Maverick's still in the lead.
Maverick McNeely, our guy.
He's going to go into the weekend.
My guy. You don't like Maverick.
No, I don't like Maverick McNeely. I'm out on the name. But I'm a Rory McIlroy guy. And if his name is Maverick McIlroy, do you think we'd have a different opinion of him?
No, I'm out on Rory, too. I tried to like Rory for a long time. Very unlikable golfer.
Okay.
Look at him.
What's his deal?
Well, he's
don't
just
like his toenails?
Got a bad attitude.
You think he's got a bad attitude?
Kind of arrogant. Yeah. He really did a number on his beloved wife.
It's crazy. You'd think it's hard to be unlikable as a golfer, but there's actually several.
There's tons.
Like a lot of
because golf is an
golfers.
unlikable sport. Yeah, it brings unlikable people in. Yeah.
Golf is not an unlikable sport, but yes, John Rahm is unlikable. Come on, there's plenty of NBA players that are unlikable.
Absolutely, there are.
Plenty of NFL players that are unlikable.
But the percentage of golfers is way higher for unlikability.
Oh, I wouldn't buy that
it's also
at
the
all.
individual aspect of it. There are so many individuals, it's hard to like them. That's why there's a lot of unlikable tennis players, too.
I mean, yeah, I hope Patrick Reed falls off the green and into the water. Yeah.
Can you name 5 golfers you like? See? It's a bad sign.
I can. I like Spieth. You don't like Bubba Watson, but I like all those golf boys because that video made me laugh. I like Ricky Fowler. Underachiever, certainly, but he's got personality.
Unlikable underachiever. I'm with you.
I didn't say unlikable. What's his name? The Spaniard. He's unlikable. The guy who takes forever to hit.
Garcia.
Yeah, Sergio. Super unlikable.
You like Bubba. You like DeChambeau.
I'm not a DeChambeau guy. No, he bugs me. He and his same length clubs bugs me.
Yeah.
And
he was the one that was 3D printing his putter, right?
Yeah.
And blew it completely. He's like, I've outsmarted everybody.
That is,
I'm
yeah, right.
3D printing my crap. And they're like, yeah, you got a bunch of slop for golf clubs.
That dude's annoying. I find Scotty Scheffler kind of annoying.
You're proving my point.
But there are others that I like. I don't like Brooks Koepka either, who's currently hitting out of the sand.
You're like, I like Jack Nicklaus.
Justin Thomas is pretty cool. I like Tony Finau.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Thigala.
Find me the guy who doesn't like Tony Finau. I want to know why.
Thigala is pretty cool.
You're a big pot eater guy.
I just became familiar with the man today. I kind of like him.
We couldn't say his name at the beginning of the show. We solved it.
And now he's my favorite golfer. Oh, Tommy Fleetwood. I'm all on board with Tommy Fleetwood.
Okay.
Cameron, not Cam Smith, but no. Who's the one with the mullet? I like that one.
Smith. Right?
Smith is the one with the mullet.
Yeah.
Who won the 150th British Open or whatever?
Is he Aussie?
Yeah, he is an Aussie.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's funny that
But he went live.
he did go live.
Yeah.
But he's back, right? Or he's coming
They're
back.
all back, yeah.
Well, not all. John Rahm's still in the desert.
Yeah.
So is Bryson DeChambeau. He's talking about just playing on YouTube. Fine career turn for that guy.
Yeah.
No, Brooks is the one who threaded the needle. He took all the dough to go to live and then came back just in time. Smartest thing he's ever done.
Smart move.
Maybe the only smart thing he's ever done. Stay tuned. We talk to PK next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Best Jazz coverage in the market. They've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Joining the show now, of course, you hear him each and every morning alongside David James. He's coming at us live from the Copper Rock Championship, of course, on the Epson Tour. He's the one and only Patrick Kinahan. Hi, PK.
Hello, guys. I miss you, man. It's been a long time since I talked to you. We went from day to day to nothing. Reminds me of my first marriage.
Why don't you text me more?
That's a good point, Ben. Because you're a newlywed, so I'm figuring you're busy if you get my drift.
I have no idea what you're talking about. The Copper Rock Championship is going on. You are live.
About to be dead the next time I see Ben.
How's it playing headed into the weekend?
It's awesome, man. It's great. The course Copper Rock, I've been around Copper Rock for several years. I actually played it like a month before it opened about 5-6 years ago, and been playing it consistently since. And it's never been in better shape. Best shape that I've seen it in. I was out there Wednesday for the practice rounds, just following some of the ladies. That wind was howling. But yesterday and today, sweet. I mean, a little breezy, you're going to get that, particularly over there. The town's called Hurricane for a reason. And but the conditions are awesome. Players, I haven't looked at the leaderboard in a few minutes here. I told Christian to have you guys be on top of it if you wanted to know. But the last one I left, it was 10 ladies within 3 strokes of the lead. 2 or 3 were both 9 under. Well, not both, 2 or 3.
It's 3 now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. When I was, last I looked, there was 3 atop at 9 under, and then a couple of 8s, 7s, and then 6s to round out the top 10. So tomorrow's the final round, obviously. It's set up to be a real fun time with a bunch of women battling it out. And the pressure on, these Korn Ferry and the Epson Tour, these people want to get to where others already are. And so, you're trying as hard as you can, obviously. And the pressure on these women, I don't know how they do it. I fold at the drop of a birdie putt for a $5 skin or something, you know what I mean? And they got so much at stake that it is so dang impressive to see them do their thing. And looking forward to getting out there. I'll get out there tomorrow about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Seems like there are some really good scores being put up, PK. I mean, there was a 64 yesterday. There was a bunch of 67s today. Would you expect the course? Are they going to make it more difficult for the final round? Are we going to see, or are they going to make it so we can see some even more scores tomorrow?
I think we're going to see some good scores. Scotty Scheffler, I understand, was complaining about the pin placements today. And so they can maybe do something there, obviously. But the thing about it is it's a relatively short course. And I believe the women, just for guys who are listening who played it, give them a frame of reference, they're playing from the blues. As far as I can tell, there's not 3 tee boxes, obviously, in this situation. But having played it, I believe they're playing from the blues. So, it's decently long, but not big time long. So it doesn't really surprise me that the scores are what they are, particularly without howling winds. You get a little breezy, and it's not that big of a deal for people who can control the ball a lot better. It's just so fun to watch these women because, obviously I'm a golfer and all that, and Jacob I've got golf with both of you. And just to watch them, the fluidity of their drives. I was watching MJ Baranga. I'm not. It's a Spanish name, and I'm butchering it. But she goes to BYU, and she had played at the regionals the day before. Flew in from Kentucky, Louisville, into Vegas. Got 7:52 tee time, and watching her do her thing yesterday was a lot of fun, particularly with the drives. So smooth and so powerful, just pure as can be. And that's a lot of fun, man. Good golf is something that I enjoy, whether it's on the TV or in person or the rare times I actually play it.
PK, while we have you, I do want to ask you a non-golf related question. And you are very well tied into these players and kind of the goings-on behind the scenes. That's why I really like your analysis always. What do you make of A.J. Dybantsa's kind of rumored desire to stick in Utah after playing high school and college basketball here? It is unique, not just because it's Utah, but most guys from any school want to get out and explore a little bit.
He's a different cat. He's always been different. He's taken the path less traveled, right? We all remember that announcement. He'd already committed, the coaches knew. But what was it, December of his high school year? And Stephen A. Smith's there. Well, what about Duke? What about BYU? And, so just by doing that tells you that he's different. And we had a lady that you know well, Kristen T. And she's there. I don't know if you guys have been, but Utah Prep is out in the middle of nowhere. And we had to laugh because I was about a mile away from Utah Prep where I'm doing the show. I'd done the show the last 3 days at a house here in the St. George area. And I've actually been at campus. It used to be the old Diamond Ranch, which was a school for troubled kids, basically, way back when. And then Utah Prep took it over, 2 years ago or so, whatever it was. And so that is out of the way. And his dad came down here, and they sent somebody from Boston Globe, I think, came out and talking about all the landmarks and how they go to Texas Roadhouse. Well, I mean, I've been to those places a million times, and they were comfortable here. And so there's something to be said for that. I do think that he's a talent, obviously. You don't take him, you don't trade for him simply because you think that, he's comfortable here. No, he's got to be the right guy. And I think he likes the BYU situation. You saw him on social media. I mean, look, what is his senior, right? He's going to the games and in the student section, and it would be like some royalty the way he was treated. So when you think about it, why wouldn't he like it, right? And clearly he did. And so there's a lot to be said for being comfortable in your surroundings, right? I'm walking here. That's why I'm a little bit out of breath. In case you were wondering, I'm walking away to get out of where I've been, obviously, at the course. But, it's true. He liked it. He likes having Kevin Young down the street. You have access to him more. Familiar with Danny, obviously. Familiar with Ryan. Probably has had the opportunity to get familiar with Austin a little bit more. So I think it's going to get done. If I had to bet, I'd go like 55-45 right now that it happens. I need to get more information, but that's where I stand right now.
Ben and I were talking about unlikable golfers. Ben thinks it's an unlikable sport. I disagree. But there are plenty of unlikable golfers. Who are your most unlikable golfers on tour?
Unlikable.
Because you love Phil, even though he's extraordinarily unlikable.
Well, he's aged out of the system basically now.
Uh-huh.
And he was really good to the fans. I could tell you stories about the players. I know somebody really well who's on tour or was on tour, not naming names, and he's told me stories. So I don't know how much Phil was beloved by the players. But the fans, having been in – now, Phoenix was his hometown, basically. Played college ball there, golf, obviously. brother used to be the ASU coach, and so he wasn't well liked. But Patrick Reed got the reputation for cheating. Oh,
Yeah, nobody likes that guy.
another ASU guy that apparently not particularly well liked, John Rahm,
Yeah.
from what I hear. And you know me, I gravitate to guys that people don't like.
That's why you've done the show with DJ for so long.
Okay, I wasn't going there. That caught me a little bit by surprise.
Everybody
Like,
likes DJ. That's the joke. Everyone loves DJ, myself included.
Well, man, I'm so glad you guys asked me to be on today. You can check with Jake Hatch. If I got paid by the word this morning, I would have taken out a loan to be able to make my housing payments. I mean, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. Although you could see me on the app with what we have, and he sure talked a lot today. But that's okay. He had things to say apparently.
He's got a lot on his mind. It's David James.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
PK playing the AJ Hawk role.
Hey, our guy Maverick McNeely gave back a stroke. He's now at 4 under, tied with Smalley, whoever that is. PK, we appreciate you coming on the show. Enjoy the rest of the tournament down there, man.
Thanks, PK.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll have all the coverage at KSL TV tonight and tomorrow also.
They're putting you on TV?
No, I'm not.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, my TV career is over, but I'm just saying our company will have it.
Okay.
Nate Dowdle's running around here with his head cut off trying to get all the stuff and everything that he needs to do and get the locals who are involved in it. There was one lady, Sturgeon, who is 8-9 weeks, maybe even more. No, maybe about 16 weeks pregnant, I think they said. And she was playing yesterday. So we'll have, Channel 5, our company. I'm a company guy, Jake. Our company will have all the results.
Dude, my wife's game got way better when she was pregnant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it had something to do with the balance or whatever, but
Hips open up, yeah, man.
Yeah, it told her she got way better when she was pregnant.
Well, I suspect that she'll get better then another 2 or 3 more times, right?
No. Thank you for Thank you for coming on, PK.
Thanks, PK.
You're the best.
See you guys.
See you, buddy. That's our friend Patrick Kinahan. Catch him every morning alongside David James. I don't know. It kept her over the ball or something, or I'm not sure. But all of a sudden, she was spanking it.
She put some weight on probably and just had a little more power.
I don't know. One of those things. She never missed a putt.
You put on weight when you grow an 8-pound child in your belly. That's not a knock.
Yeah, but we don't talk about it.
Oh, I talk about it.
Pregnancy weight?
Yeah. Did you not put on any weight? Did you put on any pregnancy weight?
No.
You didn't put on any, what do they call that?
Sympathy weight.
Sympathy weight. You didn't have a sympathy pregnancy?
No.
Okay.
Didn't have sympathy cravings or anything like that?
No, I did not.
Okay. I did. I put on some weight.
Like that?
I wish my golf game got better. It didn't.
Did your wife have cravings? I don't know if we've ever asked you that.
Yeah, nothing like super out of the ordinary.
No?
She was just craving her favorite fast food places very frequently. So, and that just so happens to be Zupa's, which is like pretty expensive. So.
Do they have gluten-free options? They must.
They do. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a friend.
It'd be tough if she was like craving breadsticks.
My friend Shay did not like spicy food. And then she got pregnant, and all she wanted was spicy. That's it. Which that seemed like a strange one.
Yeah, that's a different one. That's a
because I would expect like what happened to Christian's wife, where you just crave your favorites, not have a total new, flavor,
a new palate.
Enter. Yeah, that always seems strange, but that was her. I guess it's unique to everybody. All right, stay tuned. We'll have Live at 5 coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.